that this is that scary of a strategy. I've been testing it out. I've never felt something so solid. Something with so many options in my entire Pokemon career. And it's astonishing. But here's the thing. I've been 100% like transparent with all my strategies. I haven't been holding anything back. Whenever I find something incredible, you know, I show it to you guys and I see if you guys can take it to the next level. Shown Spinda off in quite some time, so let's see what Eon brings with the Spinda. And I see that, Rotom. I think I know what's going on here. So the Spinda swap strategy is something that has been talked about for quite some time. It's a very awesome strategy that I reviewed that a while ago, and it really seemed to take off. That some people have been trying to find ways to perfect it. That really, as long as you aren't going up against like super fast taunt or fake out, you're pretty much going to win the battle just because of the shenanigans that happen. Now, Spinda swap was originally with an Arcanine that would use overheat in close combat, but it can be for anything that wants to use overheat or any kind of attack dropping move. We'll see it with Draco Meteor. We see it with pretty much anything. So that's going to be Spinda. I imagined it's Scarf to get that outspeed right there, and then Charizard going to go for the Heat Wave. So Rotom avoids it. I don't think it mattered too much. Because like that's a tanky Pokemon right there. So overheat straight onto the Lucario as well, and that is going to be the KO and the special attack raise right there. So that means Rotom's now at twice special attack. Cool stuff. And then Shiftry. So Shiftry, not going to be the best Pokemon for dealing with Rotom, but it does get Fake Out. So it might be able to shut down Rotom for this turn. Yeah, that's going to be the Fake Out. That's going to be Rotom getting flinched. And now we get to see what Spinda does. Skill Swap. So now you're just messing around at this point. Alright, let's go and give that Shiftry Levitate, because why not? And then we get Pickpocket on Spinda, because why not? So Heat Wave going to finish off the Spinda, and it doesn't do much of anything to Rotom. That's how this game works, because Rotom's just a tank. And Rotom's going to flinch, but not too much, and that's going to be Porygon-Z. So Porygon-Z just going to go out with the Hyper Beam. You know what? I think Hyper Beam's a fine move, because like it is going to soften up the Charizard, and it's going to KO the Charizard. Oh wow, it does make a lot of sense. Like, bro, Porygon-Z packs a super amount of damage, and then that's all stab boosted and whatnot. So that does make a lot of sense. Shiftry does go down as well. And that's why I don't think Hyper Beam is a bad move, that if you're using it as like a last move, that you're using it for the raw damage, that cleaned the field right there. So that means we got to overheat and finish off, and now Ninetales. So that's going to be a pretty quick game. Ninetales though, it's going to land the Hypnosis onto Porygon-Z. Doesn't get it onto Rotom though. I thought that would be the better one because Porygon-Z was going to recharge that turn anyways. And Rotom has the Thunderbolt. So that's game. Oh boy, the opponent has Spinda Swap for this Fan Friday. It's on the battle spot, so random battle running into an opponent with Spinda Swap could be crazy. Like, I loved the battle where it was like Kitty with Keys versus Spinda Swap, and it just became the most insane, closest clutches battle ever. Oh my goodness. Wait a second. Okay, I see an Alakazam is slacking. Is Alakazam going to skill swap? Because if so, bad thing. Alakazam used skill swap on the slacking. Why don't you try to snatch it from the Spinda? Because then contrary doesn't happen. Or like, there you could have played that in a crazy way. But now we got double skill swap on the field. Intimidate really taking down that slacking. But slacking doesn't have issues anymore. Going for that bulk up. I guess you just let it happen, and then you still go for Alakazam to skill swap into the Arcanine. I don't know. Arcanine gets that close combat off, going to start gaining stats. But slacking tanks it like a boss, which is kind of crazy to think about. And it is a Mega Alakazam. I have no ideas what could possibly happen at this point. So the Trace is going to grab Intimidate, which is actually going to boost Arcanine's attack. Oh no, that is very not good. Now Arcanine's hitting really hard on that close combat. Gets the Shadow Ball down onto the Arcanine. Doesn't do really any damage. And oh no! The special defense boost as Spinda skill swaps the Intimidate into the opponent. Wait, what? Wait, whoa. Hold up. I need to replay that turn. And I wish I could like go half speed. I have no idea. Wow, and I was replaying this turn, it actually sent us back to like the beginning of the battle. But something really messed up just happened. And I was not able to keep track. Because Magic Guard came in to trace the skill swap. I have no clue what, I've never seen that before. So, going back in time quite a bit, that's going to, and also we can kind of talk about how badly this goes. Like this Shadow Ball, I've seen a lot of Spinda swap in my day, but I haven't seen like a Shadow Ball or any kind of regular move actually get a boost off that. So Shadow Ball's supposed to drop special defense, ended up boosting it, and then silliness happened. So Alakazam's Trace became Intimidate. And then whatever happened. Oh, wait. But that means, yeah, because that means Slacking has like the Magic Guard or something. And then it got really weird. Okay, so Spinda just skill swap. Spinda Intimidates, Slacking Magic Guard, Spinda Magic Guard, Slacking Intimidate. It just, and then Slacking Intimidates. Okay, sure. There was too many things that just happened. And then Slacking's attack goes up. Like, that just looked a lot crazier than it needed to be. And then that's a close combat. Slacking's still tanking it up really well after that bulk up. Arcanine's gaining defenses, though. And that is going to be a leftovers on the Arcanine. So it's even tankier. Yeah, I don't see how you can win this. So that's going to be Alakazam skill swapping the Arcanine. So now Alakazam gets the Intimidate. Or no, Alakazam gets Contrary. Arcanine gets Intimidate. So that's going to cause the Intimidate to boost Alakazam and then lower the Slacking. So now Slacking is like very, very weak. And then Spinda's skill swapped. So now it has Contrary again. And the Magic Guard goes back into Alakazam. And sure, like, stuff happens. Slacking goes for the slack off. So it gains a ton of health. And Arcanine gets the close combat. So, I mean, that's what you need to do, like, turn 1. So that way whoa! Wow, critical hit. Just absolutely destroying the Slacking right there. And that's where you get the defense drop. So, could have done that to reduce the tankiness. But now Spinda has Contrary once again. So it get handed over to Arcanine if it really wants to. And now Leavanny comes in. So, like, how's Leavanny going to deal with this Arcanine or the Spinda? Spinda hasn't even been touched. Like, normally we see a Spinda swap, like, something's going to happen there. But Arcanine not taking any damage from the Shadow Ball. Spinda skill swaps back into the Arcanine. Wow. It literally went, like, full circle. It just went all the way around the map. Spinda has Intimidate somehow again. Now Leavanny going to use that foul play, which actually does work onto the Arcanine. Barely surviving right there. Close combat into the Alakazam. Drops Alakazam below half. And then gains defenses. Not looking healthy after that one, though. Like, that foul play is doing some work because of all the Intimidate swapping going around. Alakazam gets the Dazzling Gleam. Arcanine is going to survive the Dazzling Gleam. Spinda's going to skill swap, but it's going to fail for some... Oh, that explains a few things. Leavanny just used Night Daze. That's a Zoroark. I was going to say, Leavanny doesn't get foul play. That would be a weird thing, maybe, but that's going to be the Morning Sun onto Arcanine as health is restored. And so Spinda goes down, which means no more shenanigans there, but Arcanine's still holding on to that Contrary. Alakazam could skill swap it away, but now it's Zoroark versus Arcanine and Suicune. And Alakazam's going to get the skill swap. So there's that. The opponent's playing this Arcanine completely wrong as well, because, like, there needed to be an overheat at some point before, like, the Contrary gets silly. And then Magic Guard is now onto the Arcanine, which doesn't really hurt too bad. So there's the foul play. Arcanine surviving it, and now goes for the overheat this turn. But that was on the obvious, like, skill swap play, so he's going to lose special attack. Has super duper amounts of defenses. Still hitting hard in that close combat from, like, the Intimidate stuff. And the Illusion on Zoroark. Suicune going for that Snarl. Snarl on the Suicune, not enough damage to finish off Zoroark or Alakazam, but going to boost Alakazam's special attack, because Alakazam grabbed the Contrary, which actually might make Alakazam threatening at this point. And Suicune just does its own thing. So Alakazam throwing out the Dazzling Gleam again. I don't think that's going to work on the Arcanine. No, Arcanine not going to take anything from that. Zoroark with a Night Slash. Night Slash onto Suicune. Suicune tanks it up really well. Arcanine throws out the Overheat, but Zoroark is going to avoid it. Why not close combat? Like, the defenses are still pretty good. And then the Snarl finishes off Zoroark. And I think it missed on Alakazam. Like, it didn't take a lot of damage. So Suicune with the Shell Bell. Say, I saw healing. I'm like, you can't leftovers, double leftovers on the battle spot. So leftovers on Arcanine. Arcanine's coming through here really well. And there's the real Leavanny. So Alakazam needs to finish off Arcanine. Leavanny needs to just dunk the Suicune. Like, Alakazam should not have been using Dazzling Gleam. Should have been Shadow Ball all the way. Leavanny Leaf Blade onto Suicune after Shadow Ball onto Arcanine. Suicune going to go down. Arcanine's still barely alive. And weird stuff is happening. So Arcanine gets the Overheat. Overheating the Leavanny at -2 is still going to be enough to proc Focus Sash. Wow, that Pokemon is frail. So there we go. Special attack's going to harshly drop right there. Leftover's going to heal up Arcanine. Arcanine's barely alive. So is Alakazam. So is everyone right now. And Blastoise comes in. So opponent's Blastoise going to be beefy, but how's the Leavanny going to deal with this? So that's Shadow Ball onto Arcanine. Leavanny's Focus Sash procced, and it's going to be able to hit this Blastoise. So there's the Leaf Blade on the Blastoise, and the damage is not going to be enough. Now, Blastoise has Citrus Berry, because there's no Megas, huh? And Blastoise going to Ice Beam, so Ice Beam onto Leavanny right there, going to finish it off. I mean, if Blastoise had something that could hit both opponents, I feel the Water Spout would have even handled it even at that health. And then Alakazam gets a Shadow Ball. It's down to if Alakazam can finish off Blastoise from that much health, and it does! Wow, I think the battle's over out of nowhere. Okay, let's try to get some of the best Fan Fridays battles we've ever seen. And Sean says this one will put previous Fan Fridays and strategies to shame, so I can't wait to see it. Also, we have multiples. I like seeing multiple submissions because it means we don't get like a 1-2 minute battle if it's a massive dunk. So we'll be able to see how this strategy works in different ways, and Superior is going to be leading off with that Protect. Now, what is that? Yeah, what's that going to mean for Infernape right here? Things are going to begin. Now, Infernape is going to be using Roleplay. Okay, I know where this is going. So we have the contrary Spinda swap. Now, I didn't know Roleplay worked on Protect, though. So Infernape's going to get a free Roleplay, but that's letting the Chandelure setup minimize, which can be just devastating, and we have Light Screen and Reflect up for the opponent. But that's going to be a taunt onto Klefki, so Klefki doesn't get to do too much more, and we're going to see the close combat on Infernape, which is going to boost Infernape's defenses. That's how Contrary works. So stats that would go down, go up instead. That was the whole idea behind Spinda Swap, is that with Spinda Swap, you have Spinda use Skill Swap, and then you give its contrary to something. Now, we've seen Arcanine, because Arcanine's a bulky Pokemon, has Overheat, so that means it's doubling its special attack while gaining defenses, and it has access to Sustain. I did play around with the idea of Infernape, because it also has Sustain, but I didn't realize Infernape gets Roleplay. I did Spinda Swap with Infernape. But with Superior, it lets you keep a lot of Sweeping or Speedy Shutdown, and unfortunately, just the Chandelure matchup is not good. But we do go into the Mega Gyarados, which is actually very good. Actually, having a Mega Water-type Pokemon seems like one of the best things that you could do for the strategy. So we're going to see Infernape with that close combat. It's starting to get unkillable right now. Even though it's not doing a lot of damage, it's about gaining those defenses and being really difficult to deal with. Chandelure's going to use Will-O-Wisp. The Will-O-Wisp land onto the Gyarados is going to be not good. But Gyarados still has the Waterfall. Chandelure's going to avoid it because of that minimize. And the Play Rough onto Infernape, not big. I was like, on the Gyarados? No, Infernape. But Infernape has been boosting, so we are going to be okay. Infernape keeps throwing out the close combat. What I like about the Gyarados is, against the Fire-type Pokemon, there's obvious weakness here, because Infernape isn't going to be able to hit him. Well, actually, in close combat's going to hit hard regardless. But on Pokemon like Chandelure, you need to be hitting Water-type attacks. Superior doesn't work out too well, so having that water coverage seems to add to the team, and we already have Fire, Grass, and Water. So it's looking pretty nice, but Gyarados just can't seem to land a hit, and Infernape is finally going to chip down this Klefki, and it's already at ridiculous amounts of stats. So Infernape triple defenses, but we also have Chandelure that's getting to like 40% chance to hit it, and now it's down to 30. Excellent. So Chandelure's minimize spam is going to carry it pretty hard. We're going to see how tanky it is. Wow, apparently tanky, like, not even tanky, just going to avoid. Like, after that burn comes through, Chandeler's going to take a couple of hits to actually knock down. And you can't throw out the Infernape with the overheat, because then the Flash Fire kicks in. So we're just going to keep close combating right here. Looks like we're going to get that 2-shot on the Empoleon, and then max out our defenses. And the name of the game is, will Gyarados get a hit? Now we see that Hex is going to come from the Chandelure, but there's no Will-O-Wisp, so Will-O-Wisp Hex combo generally really good. Empoleon setting up with those Hone Claws, and Gyarados is not be able to do anything. Just going to tick down from the burn. I would imagine the Hex onto Gyarados just kind of make sure it gets off the field, since Infernape is definitely not taking any damage. That's really what you want. That's what you want the Empoleon for. But Empoleon, no Aqua Jet. It Hone Claws into nothing, and then it just goes down. So Infernape is maxing, and that's Rocky Helmet. So that was a tanky invested Empoleon, and it's still, like, I'm wondering how you run this, because if you go max speed, max hit points, your Infernape's going to be able to outspeed, get the damage, get the defenses, and then you rely on, like, overheat and stuff. But Waterfall finally comes through on the Chandelure, and we're going to see that after that burn, while it is super effective, while it does have enough to knock it out normally, not taking it down now, and it's still going to be pretty difficult. But that's Superior coming in. So Superior on both sides. Infernape has the rest. That's interesting, because my Infernape was running Slack Off, because Slack Off is going to be able to give you the health back when you need it. But Rest, Resto, oh really? That's pretty crazy. Now, it still got me from, like, the whole Protect into Roleplay, and the Leaf Storm will be enough to take out the Gyarados, and it's also going to get this Superior snowballing, but it looks like Infernape didn't care. It's like, alright, you got Leaf Storm, and I've already got max defenses, and we already know that not much damage is coming down anyways. So, there we go. Nothing right there. Ooh, the Reflect wore off. Actually, oh, I forgot about the Reflect. So that was a Light Clay on the Klefki, and something tells me that Espeon with the Psych Up going to grab Infernape stats, and then we have an Overheat. So I was thinking, like, Espeon, is it going to be like a Light Screen Reflect kind of Pokemon as well? Overheat, not going to be enough to knock out Superior. Very tanky Pokemon, but now it's gaining the special attack, and that's why you want that Psych Up in there to combo with the rest of the team. Glare is going to reduce some of Infernape's power. Chandelure does have the Hex. Now, this is where Hex will get a little better, but instead using it on the Espeon, super effective damage, but not really carrying over too much on that tank. Actually, now that I think about the Reflect, so even with the burn, Gyarados would have taken out the Chandelure. That's kind of crazy to think about. And then we see the Shadow Ball. So Shadow Ball on Chandelure will be enough to finish off Chandelure, and then, like, an Overheat, Superior goes down. So this battle is over right now. And I want to see, like, how the other battle things play out, because we didn't get to see the Superior Snowball next to the Infernape threat. Like, you go, oh, actually, yeah, the thing about the Skill Swap is Skill Swap takes away contrary from that Pokemon. But with the roleplay, you have a Leaf Storm Overheat combo, and they're getting stronger every turn with a ridiculous amount of speed. So I'm going to check out the next battle. Same team, let's check it out. So it's going to be against a different opponent, of course. I'm wondering how it's going to go against the Cradily and the Glasgow. What I just really want to see. What I really want to see is, like, the double, triple, one-shot kind of crazy turn is that, alright, first turn's Protect, Roleplay, they do setup, they do whatever they need to do, and then second turn is just, like, straight up Leaf Storm into Overheat, get a KO, and then everything else is a one-shot from there. Now, Infernape is going to get that Roleplay, but this time, Superior bringing the Reflect, so it's Reflect, Taunt, Protect. Where's the Leaf Storm? I guess it's got to have it somewhere. Now, the Taunt is going to be pretty good shutdown options. The Reflect does help out your setup on the Superior, or on the Infernape if you don't feel too threatened, and then once those close combats start coming out, that's when we're good to go. Now, Cradily is going to be using that Stockpile, and guess what? It's a Rock-type Pokemon, so that close combat is going to hurt when we start seeing it, and that would be pretty decent on the Superior as well. So Superior is going to Taunt, and that's outspeeding. That's on Cradily. Cradily doesn't get to do anything anymore. Infernape with that close combat actually aimed for the Goodra, because you taunted the Cradily. It doesn't get to do anything anymore. Over half of Goodra's health right there, which means we are looking at a 2-shot, but Goodra's Muddy Water is going to be damage onto Infernape, and that's where we see the close combat. Very solid. Cradily can't use the Stockpile, so he doesn't get the setup, and Superior, there's the Leaf Storm, and this is what I'm talking about on that snowballing. So, critical hit, it should still KO then. Like, a little bit of damage right there, but that's a close combat. That's going to be a KO onto Goodra, doubling. Now we're at double the defenses after that +2. And then Superior just gets to hit Cradily and KO it. But also, remember, we are taking Stockpile into account, and there's a Sludge Bomb onto the Infernape. Not a lot of damage. Even if it hits Superior, not a lot of damage Like, for a super effective hit, Superior can take it up. Non-stab, Cradle doesn't have a huge amount of special attack. And Charizard, okay, Charizard's where problems might happen. Like, you might have to give up your Superior here in a way. You could Protect, and then still not really do too much with the Infernape. It is kind of an option. Infernape, it has the roleplay. Does it also have Protect? Or is it like carrying some kind of crazy move? So Charizard's actually going to Protect this turn. And we're going to see how Superior responds. Superior getting that Leaf Storm on, and that is going for the Cradily. Do we get that survival? Oh, actually we do. Wow, that. Oh yeah, the crit really does matter because since it had the +1, the crit broke through that and did like 3 times the damage. Or 2.5 times. So yeah, the Sludge Bomb with the critical hit and Superior survives. So the Sludge Bomb on the Infernape wasn't as huge. Cradily is very tanky, even with that +1, and its taunt's going to wear off. So Superior has the Leaf Storm, and now Superior is at a massive +6, but that's not going to last for long because it's Charizard on the field, and I don't think we're going to be able to see anything out of the Infernape. Infernape just has a close combat. That's actually going to be not that big of a hit. It does have stab, it does have high base power. That's when you throw out the overheat, I'd feel. That there's sun. You have the sun from the Charizard Y. You throw out that overheat, the damage is going to be ridiculous, and the opponent did not respect the Superior's tankiness, and didn't double down on it, because the Sludge Bomb was like, oh, that'll knock it out. No. I already knew that wasn't going to happen. So Charizard's going to have to protect this turn. We're going to see if Glasgow can pick it up. Ooh, Superior with that Fade Away Reflect. I feel you could just, like, gone for that Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm's going to knock out that Glasgow, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. And actually, ooh, Infernape is going to be part of that Earthquake, but after those close combats, it will be fine. But yeah, I think the Overheat, because either way, Overheat's resisted, close combat's resisted. Infernape has a good amount of special attack, and Fire boosted, which just means you could, like, two-shot on that Charizard. So I think that would have worked out a lot better. And the Reflect is up, so you don't have to worry about that Gliscor too much. But Espeon with that Psych Up, and that's another thing. Like, I feel that with a Psych Up Pokemon like Espeon on the team, you could rush into those overheats, even like not very effective, because that's just going to make your damage crazy. But Infernape is a frail Pokemon. While I was running this strategy for the first time, my Spinda Fernape swap contrary shenanigans, even though I didn't even need that. Like, I love this roleplay. This roleplay strategy is way better, and it kind of patches up a lot of the flaws I had in the team, because Spinda is very vulnerable. But if people see the Infernape, I guess now it's kind of spoiled. But they're not going to taunt the Infernape. But when you see Spinda, the Spinda swap strategy went massive. That's several 100,000 views across all the Spinda swap videos. And it's like a coin term in the community. So you see Spinda, you shut it down. You see Infernape, you're not going to think it's going for the roleplay. But it's also frail, so you do need to get those close combats before it starts getting crazy. And there's the Overheat. Onto the Gliscor of all Pokemon. Alright, we're going to start getting it. There's a special attack, and there's Charizard with a Hidden Power. Hidden Power on Charizard is going to hit Infernape, and close combat doesn't really matter. So Hidden Power Ground is what that looked like. And that's going to be the Poison Jab. Ooh, Espeon getting poisoned off the Poison Jab, but it's still very tanky. So the Poison's going to start being more of a threat, but there's not too many Pokemon left for the opponent, so you just got to hit hard and make it count. Also, yeah, I'm wondering, like, Espeon being faster than Infernape kind of throws it off. I'm wondering if you would change those EVs around. Like, you make it to where the EVs are just, like, the speed is 1 point under Infernape. That way Infernape gets to overheat, then you psych up, or if it's close combating, that way you're copying the stats as needed, because Espeon doesn't look like it's going to be the hardest hitting sweeper. So I'm going to give a little bit of critique right here just to kind of make it better. I don't know what your experience is on the close combats. After using strategy, I guess you have to do it. But Infernape being slower, like, you could put those EVs into hit points instead, and then make it tankier and set up its screens or get the damage in. And then when it goes for the Psych Up, you're getting free stats on that Psych Up instead of just wasting them for that turn. So it'll be more beneficial to run the slower Espeon, and that's going to be the end of the battle right there. And we have one more against legendaries. All right, saving the best for last. Let's go and check this one out. So, like I said, I like the whole team composition. The way that the Gyarados comes through, does its own things. I feel it rounds out a lot of the coverage, because we don't have too much coverage until we, like, start getting our Snowball to where, like, Overheat or Leaf Storm doesn't matter too much. And that is going to be the Mewtwo and the Groudon. Alright, is it gonna, we gotta see Primal Groudon, right? Yep, Primal Groudon coming through. And this is like, okay, who's got problems? I mean, if Superior protects, we get the role play. It's going to be very hard on Infernape, though, because, like, Precipice Blades, and if Mewtwo, like, depending on where the Mewtwo focus goes,
Ooh, that's brutal. Yeah, Infernape doesn't want to do anything with that. Infernape switches out, and that's why you can go into Gyarados as well. Gyarados is actually better than I thought. It has that flying typing, so ground type moves you can deal with. Also intimidating. The Groudon does add a little bit of extra oomph to this. And Mewtwo with a Psy Strike. So actually, Psy Strike headed for the Gyarados. Not Mega yet, so that's going to hurt Superior with that Leaf Storm though. So getting the neutral damage down while you can, and a big neutral hit. And Groudon's going to Fire Blast. So that Fire Blast, surprisingly enough, aimed for the Superior, but Superior does have that Focus Sash and will survive it out. It's not going for Precipice, which actually worked. I think that's the better call when you think about it. Doesn't look like Eruption, even though Fire Blast, I think Fire Blast is more damage than Eruption too, even full health, because the damage cut, or it's very, very close, but the accuracy. Either way, semantics. Things are going on right here. Mewtwo even calling the Mega Evolution, going into Thunderbolt over Psy Strike, taking out the Gyarados, but Superior's Leaf Storm will be enough to finish off the Groudon, and that's where it matters. So now Superior's set up, and then we don't have to keep our Infernape as safe, and, ooh, but Superior does have to worry about taking that hit from Mewtwo. So Mewtwo's going to, like, trade the Superior. However, we're going to see Espeon right here, and Delphox. So, I mean, Superior protects, and then you psych up with that, right? And there's an Aura Sphere from the Mewtwo on to the Espeon. I don't understand that. Like, that's just throwing it away, and then you Leaf Storm on the... Okay, what play was that? What was the opponent doing? Because, like, the Aura Sphere, you're outspeeding, and then, yeah, it's not like that's a Scarf Delphox or something, I guess. And Espeon had the Psych Up anyways. But Psych Up works when you protect, right? Because if roleplay works when you're protecting, that's, I guess, all that matters. And then the oh, wow. So the opponent went from showing really good play. Like, the opponent isn't a scrub. I'm trying to figure out his mindset about this one now, because I really don't get it. Because, like, yeah, he predicted the Mega Evolution and got that, and then also had, like, really good focus. Because if Infernape stayed in, then that Psy Strike KOs. And then if the, and then the Superior would have been KO'd if it didn't have a Focus Sash. So the hard read's right there. But now, this is what happens. Like, okay, so we've seen Infernape getting set up and carrying, and then we can also see Superior getting set up and carrying, and then Espeon with a Shadow Ball. That's actually going to be enough damage, huh? Wow.
Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlisify, and we're going to end Fan Fridays with Scotty. Let's see how this one ends up going with Gardevoir, Shuckle. We got Arcanine. Yeah, this is going to be a crazy battle. And apparently it's like one of the most upvoted, thumbs up liked videos from the last Fan Fridays, and it's against a double mega. Alright, let's see how this one ends up going. Or not double mega, double legendary. So let's see how this one goes. Apparently a lot of people in the comments love this battle, and I have some high hopes. So Gardevoir is going to throw down the skill swap. Does that mean it takes on Sturdy? And then Shuckle is going to just now have Contrary. Or, wait, what? Oh, no. Gardevoir has Contrary, because that's how Shuckle works. And then Shuckle now has whatever, Synchronize, Shenanigans. So Shuckle's going to throw down the Toxic. And Gardevoir, what is it going to be up to right now? Because I was told that this was kind of like a contrary Spinda strategy on the next level. So Shuckle's going to switch out after setting up that Toxic. And then Arcanine is going to come in. Oh, so it's like an extra step. Instead of having the straight up Spinda, it's going to have Gardevoir hold on to it and then switch it back into the Arcanine. So there's the skill swap right there. And now there's more Intimidate, which I don't really think matters too much in this case, because the Xerneas is going to be more special. And I don't remember, I think Oblivion Wing might be special as well? So that means we're going to see Gardevoir go down, unfortunately, but the damage has been done. Arcanine is set up, and there's the Toxic sitting on the Xerneas, so could have been worse. Now let's see if we can bring back the spirit of the Spinda, as we see Pikachu as well. Oh, this is going to be cool. Pikachu going to Speedy Charm. So, oh, what? And it raises Arcanine's attack for that close combat to raise the defenses, and then not quite ruin Xerneas' or Yveltal's day. But that is pretty nice. Alright, so that's where the attack is coming in. Kick Impact on Xerneas is pretty insane. Pikachu tanks that one up. Oblivion Wing's going to come in, and who's that going to hit? Arcanine. So Arcanine's taking this, showing through. Drains energy. And leftovers. So Arcanine already sitting on some decent defenses, really good attack, if Pikachu boosts that anymore, it's going to be just ugly. Yeah, there's the charm. Oh man. I like how Pikachu like jumps up and floats in the air for a bit while it uses charm. And so that's going to be 3 times attack, double defenses. Goodbye, Yveltal. Yeah. Yep. There's not much that can be done at this point. So, I'm trying to figure out how to handle the Xerneas on this one. The super effective hit. Oh, actually, no. Toxic's taking it down really well. So, I mean, it's not gonna be a not very effective hit, but I don't think it really matters unless Poison just naturally takes it down over time. There's a Lucario as well. So, close combat against Lucario going to be very strong. Even Mega Lucario isn't going to be able to do much to a +2 on the defenses. And Pichu's going to throw in the Thunderbolt for the disrespect chip damage. Whoa, that was a good amount of damage. Like, Lucario is so frail. And it just shows right there. So, it's a fast Pikachu. Defenses raise again, Lucario goes down. And Thunderbolt from Pikachu will probably just finish off Xerneas. There's a Moonblast. Oh, but Pikachu goes down. Sad. Even though it got a lot of work done. Alright. And Arcanine just getting a lot of health back from that leftovers. Almost back up to full. While sitting on some insane defenses. And Toxic is going to burn him down next turn. And we got Shuckle back on the field, so that could set up a Toxic. That's going to be some shenanigans right there. And Mewtwo. So we saw the Mega Lucario, which means we're not going to see the Mega Mewtwo. Aura Sphere coming out. That's going to, yeah, like you really don't have much options but hitting Shuckle. Shuckle's not going to take a lot of damage. Overheat. Now I get that. If it works, it works. You know, it's going to be a good amount of damage. Going to see something come in. Special attack raises, so that's going to be a KO next turn. Moonblast. Xerneas is doing what he can. Only doing 23 damage. Shuckle's going to Toxic Mewtwo to make sure there's going to be a lot of finishing damage. And that's going to be it. Overheat's going to finish off because of the doubling in power, because Overheat's so crazy like that. And Xerneas goes down to Toxic. So, that's the battle, guys. And it looks like a bit riskier, because like Gardevoir could have gotten Focus Fire and the skill swap would have had a little bit of a hard time going off. But going in the contrary from the Shuckle does work out pretty well. And my guess is that since it's going to switch out and come back in and Shuckle gets its ability back, it could use the contrary for like a Shell Smash setup with Arcanine setting up the huge defenses as well, while also being a Toxic support. Not bad. So even though Mewtwo used Recover, we get the critical hit. A lot of damage on that Overheat, and that's the win right there.